I'm definitely going to need a couple more bottles of water, that's for sure. Oh, no, never mind. We'll do it later. What's going on, everybody? Bear with me. I'm a little leaky today. I feel like a little sloppy. I hope you all having a good Wednesday. I kind of was until I had another porch invader show up today. So we'll talk about that in this live stream. This might be a live stream full of ranting. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I really don't want to sound like a bleeding heart or anything like that. So, just Jesus, man. With some people, thank God for hobbies, and thank God for subterfuge and distractions like this. It's like, geez, some people you just can't. It's ridiculous. And you guys saw my short that I uploaded earlier tonight. I actually had to take some dihydroberberine with benfotiamine and R-alpha lipoic acid to get my sugar under control. I could tell my blood sugar spiked from drinking all that damn ginger ale tonight. You know, I hate to lie to people, man, but you know, it's just unfortunately I think certain people have got way too comfortable with me, and I meant it. I put the hammer down because I don't want certain shit coming my way anymore. Like, I've been staying in my lane, and man, people have really noticed I've been staying in my lane. Whoa, where you been? We don't see us because I don't want to hang out. I don't want to hang out. I don't want to be seen. I want to be left alone. You know, I'll go out on my own time to do my own things. You know, too many people around here are doing stupid shit that I just want nothing to do with. You know, so I kind of backed off a little bit. Let me send this link someplace. So if the live stream goes down for some reason, give me like a few seconds. I'll be right back. I just want to post this link somewhere. All right, that didn't take too long, right? How's it going, everybody? Danny Morales, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new to the channel, everybody, do me a solid. Hit that thumbs up button. Smash that subscribe button. Check out my eBay store, The Carolina Collector. Mia Bayern did good today, man. I mean, they were playing like a low-tier team, but Harry Kane, man, he's something else, dude. Let me tell you. Man, everybody. Diaz, Musiala's back. Carl is doing really good. I mean, geez. You know, the Bayern haven't stopped yet. They still have two draws in the Bundesliga, and they're still undefeated. And I think they got the one loss in the Champions League. But I think currently they're sitting 8th in the Champions League table right now. So Bayern, I think, are guaranteed shoo-in at this point. So I know that Bayern had the old timers game recently with Franck Ribéry and Arjen Robben. That's funny to watch them guys. And you see Jurgen Klinsmann doing the back kick, you know, which is kind of funny, man. I love seeing the old schoolers come out. You know, usually you see like Paul Breitner, Mark Van Bommel, and guys like that play in them games. I actually think Van Bommel played. Hans-Jörg Butt played, which is great. So, yeah, and this jersey is... man, this thing is old. It's got to be at least 15 years old or something like that. I mean, it's a retro reissue. I actually had the custom template made for this with Lothar Matthäus on the back. You know, I love Bayern retro jerseys. You know, I actually haven't bought this year's kits. I bought the Stadion Collection kit, which is like a more 70s, 80s short sleeve style kit because the Bayern fans were going nuts. Lothar the best. Yes, he was. He still is. I can't believe he still plays, you know, in the old-timer games to this day. Carrie Cox, what's going on? How you doing? But yeah, Bayern right now with Alonso Davies coming back, now Musiala's back. Jeez, I mean, who's going to stop these guys, man? Best libero of all time. Well, yeah, Franz Beckenbauer, the Kaiser. He's the one that started all that in the first place. Jonathan Tah's been doing really good to supplement the back line, which is great. So, by the way, folks, if you're new to the channel, don't forget hit that thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. This is mostly a hobbyist channel. I talk about jerseys, hats, sneakers, toys, sports cards, or sports. I'm a big Bayern fan, obviously. I'm a Giants fan, New York Giants fan, unfortunately. Yankees fan, Mets fan, that sort of thing. So you want to help to support the channel, you could do it that way. Check out my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. The link is in the description box of this live stream directly below. You click on that, take you right to my eBay store. By the way, big shout out to my eBay customers. Man, you ladies and gentlemen have really, really showed up today. Since Christmas time, you have all showed up. In German, we say to Lothar that he was the Liederwolf. Yeah. To this day, Mateos is awesome because, he offers very, very stern opinions about Bayern and the Nationalmannschaft because, for the national team now to be sponsored by Nike, you're not going to see that anymore after this World Cup. Adidas, Auf Wiedersehen, with Adidas because they haven't performed. They haven't been performing, but even the new jersey that they have, I think is kind of desperate. This is now like the third iteration of this particular jersey, the 1990 kit. Then they redid it in 2014 with the gray version of that. And now they got the 3 stripes again, which kind of looks okay, but what is your favorite Geneva Convention violation, and do you prefer unified? What has that got to do with this? They have had yeah, it's very I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. With the new Germany kit that they're wearing right now. Wrong stream, baby girl, my bad. Okay, so I guess, well, we'll see what happens with this person. But anyway, so yeah, Bayern are doing fantastic. They're doing absolutely fantastic. What Vincent Kompany's done for this squad is just incredible. And imagine, his history in England, how bad it was to all of a sudden come out of nowhere and have Bayern be like this unstoppable force with their blitzkrieg, on the pitch. It's insane. I'm really hoping they win the Champions League this year. I mean, with the way things are going, they look like they're going to repeat like what Leverkusen did a couple seasons ago. I don't know if they're going to reach that kind of pinnacle. What we're talking about Bayern Munich. So, but you never want to get cocky because Bayern Munich, I've learned this over the years as a Bayern fan, that when they reach a pinnacle and they reach a height, they crash down. Oh, God, man. Like, I remember the days of Lucio and Michael Ballack. Well, with the exception of Schweinsteiger, Mehmet Scholl. You had, I'm trying to think who else. We had Vicente Lizarazu, guys like that. It's like, Not saying those guys are bad, but, Roy Mackay. Anyway. Yeah, so I hope you're all enjoying your Wednesday. By the way, like I said, my eBay customers, again, have come through. I got some more orders right here. So I'll probably get those out tomorrow. I'm definitely done for the night, that's for sure, after the day I had today. Actually, I had quite a few orders over the past 48 hours, and my eBay orders keep coming in, and that's because of you folks. Thank you very much. I don't understand why a lot of sports card hobbyists are crying, oh my God, the prices are dropping. The prices are dropping. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Excuse me. I'm doing pretty good with my eBay sales. I can't speak for anybody else. Oh, come on, man. Oh, the joys of being on live stream while my body's falling apart. How wonderful. Actually, I shouldn't joke around about that. I had to take some stuff to manage my blood sugar. I could tell my blood sugar's up because the bottom of my feet have that burning and neuropathy and all that stuff. So I actually had to put cream on my feet and all that kind of thing to kind of like calm it down a little bit. That's because I had to do what I had to do today to kind of like make it a point that, you know, if I don't want to fucking drink and I don't want to drink and you're up there getting all screwy Louie, you know, I'm not getting myself into fucking trouble for anybody. Not anymore, man. Bayern is great and rich, but the real football in German plays FC Schalke. They just got promoted back to the Bundesliga. Them and Hamburg, as a matter of fact. That sucked when, oh my God, I remember when Hamburg got relegated. My apologies. When they got relegated a couple seasons ago. That was awful to see them in the Zweite Bundesliga. But they're still, I mean, they're mediocre. It's going to take them time to build themselves back up to what they used to be. But, you know, you always see the same teams coming up and down anyway. You see FC Köln. You see, well, Schalke is one of those rare exceptions. You know, Werder Bremen, they got dropped and they came back. You know, all that sort of thing. I was watching something with Werder Bremen recently on the internet with Ailton. And that, I forgot what season that was. I think that was, 2004 or 2005? I can't remember. When basically Ailton for Werder Bremen pretty much destroyed Bayern's defense pretty much by himself. I don't know if that record still stands as him being the best foreign goal scorer in the Bundesliga, but that's because they lived under bridges and in train stations. Yeah, you know. See, all my family basically comes from Baden-Württemberg and Munich. I mean, we've been here in America for generations, you know, but you know, you have a lot of working class, blue collar factory working. You know, if you know German culture, you know, like with Dortmund, for example, a lot of hard working industrial people, like, you know, very tough, rigid, stern, you know, the forehead, you know, like that thing. So, but it's built into the culture, you know, whereas like, you know, the people of my heritage, you know, half my ancestors come from Baden-Württemberg, which technically I should be a Stuttgart fan, which my Bayern friends are always telling me that, you know, I don't know why you don't support Stuttgart, but you know, they were more like mathematicians and thinkers and all that kind of stuff, which kind of fits the bill because that's kind of how I am. My whole family is like that, a bunch of big brains. Well, sometimes stubborn, you know, as most Germans tend to be anyway. They're pretty much set in their ways, but in the Zweite Bundesliga, there are 60,000 on Schalke. Yeah, Schalke, Hamburg, Bayern. I mean, most of those teams, you know, always have full stadiums, almost like massive turnouts in the thousands. That is true. I mean, Hamburg, even when they got relegated down to the second tier, their stadiums were full for every single game, every game. Who I feel sorry for is 1860 München. They're still buried somewhere. I don't know if they're in the second tier or the third tier. I haven't checked the stats. I haven't been following the second tier. But Bayern's always saving the smaller teams, in particular 1860. It's a real shame because 1860 were kind of like a mid-table, you know, first tier team, and then, you know, but you always see like the same teams. You see Hansa Rostock, you see Nuremberg, you know, they're always bouncing back and forth. St. Pauli, they're always bouncing back and forth between the leagues. You know, unfortunately, you know, the Bayern amateurs, they can't climb past the third tier because that's just the way the rules are. Same thing with the other teams. They can't climb out of the third tier. But, you know, it's nice to see the young kids like like with Musiala, to see Carl come out of no place, that young kid, man, what he's been doing for Bayern, that's good. You know, I mean, they've been Bayern will always be bringing in people from outside. They're always going to be bringing in big players. They're always going to be signing big names because they are a European contender. I mean, they got 6 Champions Leagues under their belt. You know, they're approaching what, 30 Bundesliga titles at this point, if I'm not mistaken, if they're not there already. I mean, I don't remember the numbers right off the top of my head. I mean, they must have like 50 trophies at this point, Bayern Munich. But to see that the youth system is still flourishing for Bayern, that's good. They really need like Munich kids, like Thomas Müller was the best example of that, you know, or German-born kid, Schweinsteiger's another one, you know. Michael Ballack. Bayern has saved FC. Yeah. Let me tell you, Bayern is just one of those teams that when a club is about to financially collapse, that's when they'll do like a charity match or something like that. Actually on YouTube, you can watch them sometimes when they do charity matches. What I love is when they get the amateur clubs going up against the big stars, and then Bayern will score like 70 goals or something like that, but it's all for charity. So, but yeah, I've seen a couple of those matches where they dig out the smaller clubs and all that, and that's good for the Bundesliga. So, Dustin, what's going on? How you doing, my friend? Bayern is another football world. They play as they are from another universe. Oh, especially this year, Bayern are like a sine curve. You know, back in the 60s with Gerd Müller, Sepp Maier, Beckenbauer, Uli Hoeneß, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, you know, guys like that. Franz Roth, all those guys, man, they were fantastic. And then the 80s were kind of, you know. But then you have the 90s, Lothar Matthäus came around, and, you know, his ilk with, let me think here. Who am I forgetting? Stefan Effenberg into the 2000s, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Paul Breitner, as a matter of fact. Yeah, so they got a whole slew of one of my buddies is messaging me here who's watching a live stream right now. Fuck you. That's one of my good friends that's watching. Yeah, Mario Basler. Yeah, another good name. Klaus Augenthaler. You know, good names, man. Great names. But Klinsmann, we mentioned. Who else am I thinking of here? I'm getting distracted. My buddy's watching a live stream as we're talking. I'm doing okay, fellow G1 Gun Megatron fan. I love G1 Gun Megatron. G1 Tank Megatron sucks. Well, I'll be honest with you. Let me deviate from the football soccer talk here a little bit, because I happen to have the Studio Series Megatron sitting right here. I don't really transform Studio Series Megs that often, but I tell you what, he's grown on me. He's really grown on me. And from what I've seen, they actually have an upgrade kit that bulks up his arms. I don't know if they released it yet. And there's some gap fillers and stuff that they made to add to this. I think it's for underneath his feet and all that sort of thing. I'm not sure. I think Super Robot Ed talked about it on his channel. A good YouTube content creator, by the way. Go check him out. Super Robot Ed. But about to watch Major League. That's my buddy messaging me on WhatsApp. I have the whole costume of Rick Vaughn. You know that. But again, like I said, you know, that's my buddy watching the live stream right now, messaging me on WhatsApp. But we'll catch up, man. My bad for not calling and all that stuff. I've been everywhere. Been a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. Plus, I've been busy with this stuff. So, really busy with that stuff. But as far as the Transformers stuff, see, this is why I love being a hobbyist content creator, because you can go from one subject to another, to another, to another, to another. I got love for my Transformers. I got love. Alf gets FC Bayern, of course. If I had a copy of Studio Series G1 Megatron, we pretend that tank mode never existed. A lot of Transformers collectors are like that. As a matter of fact, you know, let's get two subjects going at one time. Why not? Give me a moment, please, ladies and gentlemen. Let me grab. I'll grab So we have my whatchamacallit, 16 special reissue Japanese Megatron right here, which is an almost exact copy of the 86 Megs. And then I have my Goodbye Megatron, which came in a 2-pack. This is a reissue of Goodbye Megatron. This came with, I think this was, what, a Taiwan or a China exclusive or something like that I was able to get my hands on. I actually like this more than this because this is an original that I had. I mean, again, it's a 16 special reissue from the 2000s, but it's starting to show its age because the chrome, like chrome usually does, is beginning to fracture a little bit on the chest, so I tend not to mess with this one too much. But this one, to me, is just a lot more cartoony in my eyes. And what's nice is that the accessories for that Megatron fits this Megatron, so they're interchangeable, which is nice. But yeah, G1 Megs is the best. I mean, it's just a shame with our stupid, goofy gun laws. I'm not going to get into politics or anything like that, but we had it the best. Guys my age had it the best. I think kids in the 70s and 80s had the best toys, man, from Star Wars to Buck Rogers to all that stuff, man. Even Evil Knievel toys, the fucking Smurfs, Transformers, Voltron, G.I. Joe, Thundercats. Oh, by the way, I've been meaning to make a YouTube short about this if I haven't done so already. So there are my bootleg cassette bots, and I did finally give them new Decepticon stickers. Look how nice they look. So, and they're up here on my desk, keeping me company when I do my baseball card stuff. So, let me go grab me another bottle of water, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go nowhere. I should be back in about 20 seconds or so. I might as well just break out the obligatory Red Bull, even though it's 10 o'clock at night. I shouldn't be drinking these this late, but thank you, everybody, for joining in on this live stream. Bayern Munich fans, German national team fans, football fans, American football, soccer, Transformers, hat collectors, sneaker collectors, all that good stuff. I happen to have a whole slew of hobby shit around me, believe it or not. Like, this fucking guy. He's saying that Megatron's a pussy or something like that. I just caught the leading edge of it. So if we're gonna get into sneaker talk, there's the red cements I wore today, red cement 4s. I got Transformers in front of me. I got freaking baseball stuff, baseball gloves I wore outside because it was who we got here, Mr. Valentine. This THC edible got me so high I started looking for clues on random YouTube live streams. Well, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. You found me. So we talk about all sorts of hobby shit. Soccer, baseball, football, European football, Transformers, sneakers, hats, baseball cards, all that kind of thing. Obligatory Red Bull, folks. Cheers. Those sneakers are Timo knockoffs. He's such an asshole. Oh, man, the live stream's on fire tonight, folks. Thank you, everybody. By the way, shameless e-beg, new to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel. And check out my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. The link is in the description box of this live stream below. You click on that, takes you right to my eBay store. Shameless e-beg over. I'm scared to ask out today's women because they can be transgenders. Well, this latest relationship isn't really going anywhere. I think she ghosted me. I once lost 4,000 euros or lira on a game of football, Bayern Munich versus some random shitty club. The random shitty club won. Listen, Bayern's got their up and downs. When Bayern lose, they lose bad. I was just talking about that here in the live stream before you showed up, as a matter of fact. Like, I remember in the early 2000s, man, after Bayern Munich won, like what happened with Manchester United in 1999, fucking Bayern were winning that game. And then what happened? David Beckham, he scored twice, I think, as a matter of fact, in that game. That's when Effenberg and Mehmet Scholl and Giovanni Elber were playing on that squad. Oliver Kahn was playing on that squad, and they blew it, completely blew it. And then, of course, they came back in 2001 and beat Valencia with penalty kicks, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Bayern, when they lose hard, bro. I mean, it's happened against Real Madrid, it's happened against AC Milan, and it's happened against Barcelona. Those seem to be like the three biggest pain in the ass teams for Bayern, although that's kind of shifted a little bit recently. In most recent years, obviously, what happened with the last two Champions Leagues with Bayern, you know, with PSG and all that kind of stuff. But Real Madrid have turned to shit. Hey, man, what's up? Did you see the Yankees bring back Cody Bellinger? Yes, I did. Dude, this live stream is awesome. We're talking about a little bit of everything. Soccer, baseball, Transformers, sneakers, hats. I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. Thank you, everybody, for bringing it to life. Yes, Cody Bellinger re-signed a new contract. I think it's for 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So, and the Yankees got Bo Bichette, Carlos Beltran. Bayern Munich is, oh, God, you guys are fucking with me too much, man. That's my buddy on WhatsApp messing with me. He's watching this. David Beckham is himself a gambler, also a businessman. He was a coach who gave many cups to the team. Yeah, Manchester United has been through the meat grinder. I know even against Man City, I mean, they've been kind of like Arsenal. English football is really weird like that. It's always changing hands, you know, with Sir Alex Ferguson managing them. And then all of a sudden, once he retired, Manchester United just... I'm trying to answer everybody's questions here and respond to the comments. Before I became familiar with the Transformers, I was more into Beast Wars. I still love Beast Wars. Beast Machines is kind of weird. Never watched RID, Armada, or Energon. I never really got into it. Yeah, 5 years with an opt-out. That's the Bellinger. After I was done with Energon, I quit collecting Transformers figures. Man, you guys and gals are hard to keep up with tonight, man. I'm talking about everything tonight. That's cool. But yeah, I never got into Armada, never got into Energon. I love Beast Wars. I love not Robots in Disguise, Transformers Prime. I actually started rewatching that again, but I kind of did it in reverse. I was watching the, what do you call them? Beast Hunters, the Beast Hunters series, which is pretty cool. And then the movie where Unicron revives Megatron and turns him into that weird, well, technically he's Galvatron, but he's not Galvatron type of thing. But now I'm lost. I don't know what to talk about next. So I guess back to Bayern Munich again. Yeah, when it comes to Bayern, when they crash and burn hard. Let me tell you, they're just one of them teams. They either win or they suck. There's like no in between. That's why a lot of European football fans, you either love Bayern or you hate them. I mean, that's just the way it is. Looks like I might need this after all, talking to all you crazy mofos out there. But that's awesome, everybody. That's awesome. But once again, if you're eBay customers of mine, I got to say this. Huge thank you to my eBay customers. You guys have been killing it. I got some more orders that came in tonight that are sitting right there. And I'll probably get those out tomorrow. I got a whole bunch of orders out today. Thank you so much to my eBay customers. Shameless eBeg, by the way. If you want to help to support the channel financially, I don't do memberships or any of that stuff. Click on the link in the description box below. Take you right to my eBay store. I sell sports cards and other stuff. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. That like button really matters. And subscribe to the channel. Do I love Donald Trump? Be right back. God. You folks killing it tonight. Killing it, folks. You folks are killing it. I don't know who to acknowledge first, man. There's a lot of subject matter in this live stream. So just in case you need to know, all right, there's my latest pickup, my Charlie Kirk hat. Make America Charlie Kirk. God bless that man. May his soul rest in peace. And then, of course, we have to have the Orange Man, the great Orange Man. We're going to take Greenland. We need Greenland because of China and Russia. China and Russia. You know, I still have that vest, the Garbage Man vest. You know what? It's a live stream. Fuck it. Let me see here. We're going to have a little fun tonight. Remember this thing when he was driving around the garbage truck? That they were calling us all garbage people? You know what I mean? Well, I happen to have one of those vests, the exact make and model vest. If anybody wants to know what this is, don't buy it more than what it is. Don't pay more than what you should. You should only be paying like 20 to 30 bucks for this thing, not even. And I recommend it. I recommend getting it a size smaller because this is an extra large, but it fits big on me. But it's meant for outdoors, of course. So this is a Walls 3M vest, as you can see right there. All right, part of my Trump collection, by the way. Because we're all garbage. We're all garbage. We're all dirty, smelly Walmart shoppers. I love fucking Walmart, by the way. Walmart's my shit. Okay? Okay? God. Yeah, man, he's not taking any nonsense, man. I really didn't want to get political and all that stuff, but I do have a collection of Trump hats. I had to sell off a couple of them because I have like a whole section of hats in my bedroom. I just don't have any more wall space to hang them. As a matter of fact, obviously many of you are probably new or not new to the channel, excuse me, that I have my sports rack with all my sneakers and my jerseys. And all around that are all my hats. And I have a whole section of Trump hats. I don't want to put any more hats up on my wall because it's insane. You know, let's go take a walk. We'll go take a look. We're going to go take a look at the Trump collection. Well, you know what? I'll leave these two here. Well, you already saw my Charlie Kirk hat. And I had... Let me see here. Let me close the door here quickly. So the one I'm wearing now, the Charlie Kirk can sit anywhere. That's another Charlie Kirk. These are Trump hats here. I actually had a Trump Vance hat, which is on eBay right now that I'm selling. Then you got the Elon Trump. That's the Elon Trump hat, the all black. Excuse me, and that's one of his Halloween hats right there. And then that's a Walmart hat that I put a patch over for Christmas. I'm not the biggest fan of Trump supporting legal abortions. I would rather put up with him than Biden and the Democrats. Dude, they're out of their minds, man. They really are. I really don't want to get into too much politics here, to be honest with you. But yeah, so Let me turn on this light here. Forgive me, guys. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to keep up with all of you, so bear with me, all right? So we are in my bedroom, okay? These are all my hats. All the way down the wall. This I plan on changing. That's tax forms and, paperwork and stuff over the years. But this whole thing I like to clear out. There are my less lethals right there. There's the Pepperball TMP and TCP, but sooner or later, this is going to change. I've had it like this since I first moved in. I really don't like it. This I've built up over time in here, but I don't want it to be any bigger than this because it looks ridiculous enough as it is. I got to clean all this up. This is a right mess. But, yeah, as far as Trump hats are concerned, that's the Charlie Kirk. That's another Charlie Kirk. That's his victory hat after he won his second term. And that's the inauguration hat. Then that space is for this one. Again, you got the Never Surrender hat, which has the Proud Boys colors on it. That's the Elon hat, the all black, and then his Halloween hat. And then we got my German national team hats right there. The Deutsche Mannschaft. New York Mets, New York Yankees, New York Giants. We got a couple Bayern Munich hats right there. I got a pretty decent sized New York Yankees collection. Boom, 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 boom. We got Cleveland Indians because it triggers the left. And plus, that's part of my Rick Vaughn costume, which I never really did a review of. Maybe I'll do that. That's the Rick Vaughn right there. I got the entire uniform from the movie Major League. Well, that's very specific to Major League 2. A couple 9/11 hats, another Walmart Christmas hat because I'm a dirty, smelly Walmart shopper. More Yankees hats. That's a special 9/11 hat right there that they wore. Not last, they did wear the same hat last year, but the FDNY was in red. The year previous to that, it was white like this. These are a little difficult to come by. You know, I was lucky to get my hands on them. That's the Mitchell and Ness Yankees hat. The oldest, most classic hat I have in my collection would have to be, is it here? Yeah, this is an original 1970s, 1980s hat from the New York Mets. This is a new era, I believe, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm pro-life too. I'm pro-life also. You know, I think, if you're going to be promiscuous and can't control your legs, keep your legs closed. But also, that doesn't excuse the fellas either, man. Wear a raincoat. You know what I mean? So, wear a raincoat. You know, unfortunately, people today, they just want to do things without any responsibility or consequence. And that's why you see all these retards, running around in Minneapolis like the way they are. And then they wonder why ICE shoots them in the face with pepper balls and stuff like that. Like that little weirdo with the long hair that I saw in the news that they're trying to cantonize.
Yeah, they shot me in the eye, and it hurt. And the doctors are telling me my eyes, I'm never going to be able to see again.
With his precious little black fingernails and all that bullshit. Meanwhile, they were throwing construction cones at ICE. The idiots. Why am I even wearing a hat? I'm indoors anyway. Look at my hair. It's all unkempt. But anyway. So, I love and hate Hasbro. At the same time, love their Transformers toy. I hate them because they can't make G1 Megatron into a gun. Believe it or not, they can, but they won't. Because, again, our stupid, goofy gun laws. You can thank leftists and, powder puff parents for that, who put their kids in a bubble. So, it's ridiculous and stupid. They should at least do it for the adults. You know what I mean? Do it for us. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm not going to have some fucking nanny or anybody tell me what I can and can't do with my fucking self. You know what I mean? If I'm old enough to vote, drive a car, cross the street, pay bills, pay rent, cook, clean, then I should be able to jolly well fine do whatever the fuck I want. So if I want a G1 Megatron, oops, already got it. It's just stupid because unfortunately today, not to knock the police, but I've been watching a lot more cops getting busted on a job doing stupid shit, unfortunately. And that's no different than what happens here in North Carolina where I live. But anyways. Whew, man, you folks are a hard act to keep up with. As the channel gets bigger, I guess I'm gonna have to learn to stick with you folks. Man, I went through about 8 different subjects: politics, went through Trump, Transformers, Bayern Munich, the German national team, the New York Yankees. Talk about a well-rounded fella, I guess. But that's cool, man. That's what the channel's about. If I was working for Hasbro, I'd make G1 Megatron into a gun again. Yeah, you know what it is, unfortunately. I tell you the truth, actually, I have a little bit of a story. Like the neighborhood kids that are here on the other side of the property, I was sitting with my friend, having a couple beers recently over by her place. I think this has to be at least a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And one of the kids had this massive, it looked like a real machete. It was designed like an all black carbon fiber looking thing. Now I'm going to show you something right now, as a matter of fact. And I tried to explain this to these kids, and I try to be a mentor to them. I care a lot about the kids around this neighborhood that we live in. Because a lot of them don't know better. But one of them's walking around with this big ass plastic machete. These are my Smith and Wesson knives. They're twins. I got two of them. Well, I bought them in bulk and gave away a whole bunch of knives to my friends over time. But these are the last two that I have. So when I flip this open, it's all black. And let me tell you, when I saw that plastic blade, I really thought it was a real machete. If I didn't walk up to it and look at it myself, and I warned them, I'm like, if a police officer or somebody who doesn't know that this thing is a toy, you can get in real trouble for this sort of thing. Even an adult walking around with a toy gun or a fake gun or something like that, the cops, I don't want to say, what cops could potentially do because they're kids and you kind of have to explain it in a certain way. You use a little subterfuge to not be so brutally honest with them. But I was like, if the police see that, they're going to think that it's like, a sword or something like that. Even for us adults, we can't do certain things because you can get into serious trouble because there are a lot of bad people out there. So just be careful. You have to explain it to them in a certain way and break it down. You can't just yell at them. You have to explain it to them. Unfortunately, we have some adults that don't know how to talk to kids around here. You have to explain it to them. You have to talk them down. You have to be a mentor to them. There's no parks for these kids to play around in. So when I see them, I try to be a mentor to them. Home, not out in the public. See, I agree with you. You know why? Because my father, which everybody knows if you've been watching the channel and all that stuff, my dad passed away, in June of 2025, right? His generation grew up playing cowboys and Indians with toy guns. I actually bought my father an old toy gun years ago for Christmas. The little cap guns they used to use back in the days. They used to play Lone Ranger, and all that kind of stuff with Tonto and what have you. And you never heard of things like that. They play cops and robbers, and you never heard of kids getting shot by the police because of this stuff. It's because of fear. And unfortunately, because of the stupidity of most parents out there for not being parents, they stick a phone in front of their kid's face and everything is this, and they watch all the garbage that's on YouTube and all that kind of shit. And nobody really parents these kids anymore. The kids are left to their own fucking vices these days, and kids are bringing real firearms to school and shooting up these schools, especially the little who cross-dressing, taping their ding-dongs to the sides of their legs wearing a dress while walking into a high school with an AR-15. But then meanwhile, we're the bad people, right? Bullshit. But with all that being said, back then parents were parents. Now if you lay a hand on a kid will call 911 and then fucking social services show up and they'll remove the kid from the home and throw you in jail. It's pathetic. I'm not saying you have to engage in corporal punishment. Just be a fucking mentor, man. Be a mentor. Every time I see the kids outside, I'll wave at them. If I have extra baseball cards, I give out baseball cards. I actually have to buy a case of juice, the little juice boxes or something like that for them, or small bottles of water or something like that. Even today they were outside. Not that I'm going to berate certain people for stopping them kids from playing, because I kind of get why they were stopped from playing. It's because they were out in the road where fucking idiots are out. And this is North Carolina, man. North Carolina drivers are by far, in my opinion, the fucking worst, next to Floridians and New Yorkers behind the wheel. And they're out there with no fucking helmets on their heads, riding around on these scooters or whatever it is. I believe a kid should run free, but you got to make sure if they're going to be in certain areas, if they're going to use bicycles, scooters, skateboards, whatever. The manager was kind of right to go out there. And I was watching today. I saw the manager with one of the maintenance guys out there telling him to get the fuck off the road. I'm sure that's what she said. Because you don't got a helmet on you. There's no parents around. And you're out here running around in the middle of the street. I drive my car super slow when I'm here on the property because I know these kids don't know any better. We're talking about kids that don't know this. Look both ways before you cross the street because they dart in and out of the road and they don't care. And there's no adult watching, which is, it's good that they were outside. It's good that they're playing. It's always good for the kids to be outside and play, but there has to be boundaries, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And if you don't teach these kids right, you get the idiots that bring guns into school, or they have toy guns like this, and they wave them around like they're real, and they end up getting into trouble because nobody teaches them right. That's why. So I'm on the side of the manager in this case for getting them off the road and chasing them off the road today. I have no problem watching the kids run around. I like seeing them run around because they have to be outside, but not if you're going to be zipping back and forth on a bicycle and scooters and skateboards and all that shit, because you get killed. Especially with the way people drive here in Charlotte. One of the politicians who I can't stand are the ones who are against fictional violence. Well, yeah, because it's heavy metal's fault. It's the fault of heavy metal. If you wind the record backwards, some sort of make-believe demon told them to go do a thing. It's like back in the 80s with Dungeons and Dragons and all that kind of stuff, and none of that was true. It's just you leave these kids alone to think on their own without giving them the building blocks to think. Thank God I'm looking at my father's photo, and may he strike me dead in this live stream. He was rough in his ways. Unfortunately, my grandfather died when he came over from World War II, fighting for this country proudly. My dad didn't know his dad, so my dad really didn't have the necessary parenting skills like he could have had, but he did his best at what he knew and what he had. And he was very rough with us, and he led through example. He might not have explained it to us, but he led through example. There's different ways of teaching kids something. He wouldn't know how to tell you how not to stick a knife into a wall socket, but he would be like the kind of guy that would demonstrate this is what will happen because he couldn't explain himself. He was like that. He always led through example. I mean, obviously he didn't do that, but he was one of those fathers that was just like, well, this is what you don't fucking do. And he was very well versed in politics and the news, and understood I have to say the sad state of human nature as it is. I'm a natural born cynic as a result of him. Seeing the awful fucking two-faced, snake-like conniving behavior of certain people out there, even with shit that I've been dealing with, what I dealt with last year, the two-faced backstabbing. The fucking selling people up a river. Even though you do the right thing, people still want to fucking demonize you and lie about you and all that kind of shit. So he understands the two sides of human nature, but you have to unfortunately lead through examples. Some people just don't know how to explain themselves. But these kids today, everything's on the fucking phone. Everything is the internet. Everything's, especially TikTok. I think TikTok is poison. Even me, here I am on social media. Somebody could say, well, you're being a hypocrite. But, I talk about toys. I'm a fucking grown adult. But then meanwhile, you got like what happened with remember the Tide Pod thing where people are eating Tide Pods, and, the stupid internet challenges that these kids do. It's stupid. But anyway. Man, I gotta go see the doctor, man. My left ear, I think I got earwax in there. Pretty gunked up. That's why you always see me playing games with my nose. I'm trying to equalize my equilibrium. But I got it on this side kind of bad. I think it's definitely earwax. But so holy shit, man. That was a lot of conversation in an hour. Man, I probably bounced around 8 or 9 different subjects here on the channel or in this live stream. But yeah, nobody teaches these kids. Oh, just a quick thing with Megatron. You can get a cheap G1 Megatron. I still see them on sale on eBay. I reviewed this on a channel a while back. I'll give you a second here. This is a knockoff G1 and it's a really, really nice display piece. If you want to have like a Megatron to display for cheap, I think this ran me like $60 or something like that. It had to be shipped in 2 separate packages to get around customs and all that, but this thing is just amazing. Man, when I opened this up for the first time, I'm like, holy shit. It's not a perfect Megatron, but it's a decent Megatron. It did have its issues. There's like a pin that would constantly come out that I've actually set with crazy glue, and this sticker is like peeling off. I should really get a Toy Hack sticker sheet for this. Actually, don't I have... Yeah, I did have the sticker sheet for this. I was wondering where this went to. Man, when I did the review for this thing a long time ago, I took the sticker sheet out. It's been sitting in my desk ever since. But I put a knockoff sticker sheet on there. It's not a Toy Hacks one. It's just like a generic sticker sheet that I found on eBay that I put on here. But regardless and despite that, oh, the G1 goodness on this thing is just, oh, it's delicious, isn't it? Look at how nice that looks. But this is a knockoff Megatron. I bought this just to display up on a shelf. I really should leave this Megatron out and put away those two into storage so they don't get all screwed up. Because every so often, like I'll have somebody come on over here and they'll want to go explore my toy shelf over there, and they start touching things. I'm like, yeah, don't do that. Let me touch it. You know, you ever? I mean, I don't know how many of you are those kind of collectors. Like when people come over, like your family or friends, or like if you have kids of your own, or you have a niece and nephew, and they see those toys and whatnot. That's the first thing they go after is your toy shelf, your collector's shelf. Which I don't mind, you know what I mean? But it's just like, eek. Because some of that stuff is expensive. Not for nothing. But, yeah, this is a really nice, G1 Megatron knockoff. Again, they had to ship it in 2 separate packages, unfortunately, to get around customs. So, basically, if you want to keep this thing, like, looking nice and minty fresh like this one, like this box is, for example, they gutted the thing so that this way they didn't tape it shut. Even though it's taped shut on one side, they didn't tape it shut on the other for a reason so that you can access it. So when customs actually looks at this thing, they can see it's a toy gun. That's essentially the thought process behind that. But once the set comes and you put it together, I mean, you would think that this was an actual legit G1 Megatron, but there are differences, subtle differences, you know, with the Transformers name. I think the Formers part would favor the left side of the box. Well, if you're looking at it this way, it would favor the right side, technically. And obviously, you could tell that it's wonky in its details, where like it's a little off center the way it's cut. And Hasbro would never let this happen. You know, the QC issues with the printing and all that stuff. But as a display piece, as a knockoff, hey, it is what it is. I like to get a knockoff Optimus Prime. They still have them on eBay. You get them for cheap. They're like $50, $60, something like that. So, and out of nowhere, the knockoff rub sign just fell on my feet for some reason. I don't know how that happened. That's weird. Give me a minute here. Where's that sticker sheet? How did that come out? This is freaking David Copperfield shit. How the hell did that come out of that bag? That thing is sealed. Okay, that's weird. I don't know how that happened, but that is supposed to be in here. Because I did not apply the rub sign on it. So technically, yes, you can still get a G1 Megatron right now if you want. But if you try to find an original, you'll probably pay, if you find it in box, you're probably going to pay like $1,000 if it's complete. If you find a complete Megatron without the box, you're probably talking anywhere between $300 to $500. But if you get a knockoff like this one, you're only going to pay like 60, maybe $70 at most. If you buy the Chinese reissue of Goodbye Megatron, There was a one of the Michael Bay Megatrons came with this in a 2-pack. But again, like I said, this was the goodbye Megatron. And then if you're baller enough, if you can afford it, you can get the 16 special Megatron. They go for like $200 to $300. And then you have the it's something collection. I can't remember. They come in the big white boxes that fold out. I used to have them. I can't remember what the name of it is for the life of me, but realistic toy gun packages need disclaimers on them saying this is a toy, not a real one. This is meant to be played with at home and not out in the public. Stupid. Well, it would I mean, for me as a collector, it's distracting. But in today's world, again, you have to assume everybody's a nitwit and brainless and brain dead. You know, they can put it. I can see them putting like on video games, like what they did back in the days, the parental warning labels and that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, you know, with the way the world is, with everybody fear mongering, panicking, and all that kind of shit, and given the penchant of violence that people seem to engage in, you know, you can't have the fun has been sucked out of everything. Oh, believe me, I know that for a fact with certain things that have happened over the course of 2025. The fucking fun has been sucked out of everything these days. Everything is ugly. Everything is unfun. Everything is dumbed down. Don't even get me started with Star Trek Starfleet Academy. I would never watch that shit. I would probably go blind. My head would explode. I probably would have a coronary or something like that. But everything is, it's it, what, who, trans, pronoun, big, fat, gay, black, guilty, white, liberal, septum ring bullshit. You know what I mean? With gay Klingons and men in dresses, you know, playing acting roles in Star Trek. And it's just, everything's fucking politics, 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 man. Even with toys, everything is politics. This is the prime example of it right here. He looks good in his robot form. I'm not going to deny it. But transforming into a tank, he is not. To call that Studio Series 86, and I made very good points about that, as long as he is a tank, he is not Studio Series 86. I more consider him Studio Series Devastation Megatron, because he transforms into a tank in the game. So does he. If you want to play Mortal Kombat, then fine, play Mortal Kombat. Just don't reenact the damn thing. Well, that's the problem. Unfortunately, human nature dictates that people don't know where to draw the line. You have to assume everybody's an idiot, everybody's stupid, or people want to assume control over you, or they're jealous. See, I look at everybody through the 7 deadly sins. People are not that hard to predict. Their body language, their tone of voice, the way they look at you, the way they approach you. People are not that hard to figure out. And that's kind of how I treat people. You know, I know if you're lying to me. I know if you're drunk. I know if you're deceiving me. I know if you're trying to get over on me, if you're trying to use me, you know, which is going to be a big subject that's going to come up tomorrow. I'm not even going to get into that. I might not even say anything tomorrow with certain things I got to do tomorrow, but I think the IQ of the country has significantly decreased. I think people are dumb. I think people are idiotic and moronic and stupid. They don't know how to control themselves. They don't know where to draw the line. Everybody, they watch this bullshit on YouTube. You know, I'm very cynical. I could sit here and pick my nose all day. You know, I realize I'm a real person sitting on a real chair. There's no dragons or dwarves or fucking elves. This is not Lord of the Rings land. This is not Star Trek Perfect Utopia. We all shit, we all fart, we all die. You know, it's just people just don't want to accept reality, man. And everybody wastes their time with bullshit. When I play Mortal Kombat, I have common sense. Yeah, it's like any video game, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, any of them, fighting games or role-playing games, whatever. But unfortunately, we live in a very sick, depraved, unintelligent, unenlightened society. You know, that when they see that stupid shit, like remember the Slender Man crime, you know, with them 2 girls that you know, went on that fucking killing spree. One of them escaped and they caught her again recently. It's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. The Slender Man crime is the best example of that I can think of right off the bat. But video games don't teach people to go kill. People influence others to kill. Human nature drives itself to want to go killing people. Unfortunately, we have fight or flight. People want to deny that as well. It's like fat people. They want to deny the reality of the fact that they are a victim of their own circumstance. High cholesterol, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, all that sort of thing. I love to see, and I thought about this for a minute. With some of these it what who pronoun big fat black trans guilty white liberal septum nose ring assholes. I like to see them. Oh, so you believe in equality, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion, really. So let's have a big fat black gay septum ring wearing tattooed freak with a bald head, all right, who's crippled in a wheelchair. Equality, right? So let's have this person be a firefighter without going to school, climb up a ladder to go save a cat in a burning tree. Imagine that. Literally imagine that in your brain. They can't. And then you say a thing like that, you know what they'll say? Racist, 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 racist. Phobic, 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 racist. And that's what they do. That's what they do. Man, I really got that fucking wax in my ear, boy. But yeah, try to picture that. A big fat land whale in a wheelchair who's crippled, a paraplegic, going up a firefighter's ladder trying to save a cat from a burning tree or a burning building. Well, you want to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. They just want the paycheck without doing anything. That's really what it's about. It's jealousy. It's all jealousy, folks. Again, I don't want to get into politics, but people have lost their fucking shit. People have completely lost their minds, folks. They really have. They really have. And if you're a good guy, and believe me, I know this, if you're a good guy doing the right thing within the boundaries of the law, they'll still fucking treat you like dog shit. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. That's why I got the new sign on my front door that says this home is protected. My home, my business, my vehicle, and my person are protected by less lethal weapons. The Second Amendment of our Constitution of the United States, which I have 2 pocket copies of it right here. And then the North Carolina General Assembly 14-52.1.2 and .3, the North Carolina Stand Your Ground Law, which those rights are inalienable and absolute. So, not even going to get into that discussion. But anyway, yeah, it's idiotic. It really is. But, then again, you also have to realize too, we have our, like the G1 fan base, like we live through this stuff. All right. G1 is alive. It's still going. It might be in a different form these days, like with studio series. I mean, look at how far G1 toys have come. They went from this to this. I look at my Studio Series 86 Grimlock that's up on my shelf right there, and they're coming out with a missing link Grimlock. Like the Optimus Prime that we all grew up with as kids. Now they got missing link Optimus Prime. And then look at all the Optimus Primes they came out with ever since. Here, I got Studio Series Prime right here, as a matter of fact, that I upgraded. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, it's our franchise, but, the torch has to be passed on eventually. We don't, unless you're Amish, you know what I mean? We don't ride around in fucking horse-drawn buggies unless you're Amish or something like that, or you're a farmer, plowing fields and stuff like that. It's a different generation, and they're going to have different cars. These characters are going to be passed on to the next generation to transform into different things. That's why I've kind of accepted that he's a tank. Yeah, I hate the idea that they call him Studio Series 86, because he was not a tank in 1986. He was a fucking Walther P-38. And I have proof of that because here is a reissue from Takara. But at the end of the day, even I have to say it too, is that, it's no longer our franchise. I mean, yeah, we started it, but it's being passed on and they have to take it in their own direction. It's just sad when you have gay robots and crippled. I haven't seen a crippled robot. Do they have a crippled robot? I'm sure they will. It's like stupid. It's fucking pathetic, man. Like that kind of stuff irks me. Oh, like the autism Barbie. I wanted to make a YouTube video about this, but I know me, I probably would take it too far. How the hell can you come out with a Barbie doll that will remind your child and yourself of the awful condition that your child has? I just don't understand. I mean, yeah, I get the whole acceptance thing. All right. There are things that I'm good at that another person is not good at. And there are things that I'm not good at that another person is fantastic at. You put the two of us together, you teach me a thing or two, I teach you a thing or two. Hey, man, we make it work. But yeah, fucking autistic Barbie? Really? Autistic Barbie. You would think that Hasbro would call Studio Series 86 Studio Series G1. Well, they're supposed to be changing that up. I've been seeing a lot of things here on YouTube from my fellow content creators out there that they're toying with different ideas these days. You know, for example, here I talked about this guy to death, how many times I upgraded this Optimus Prime. That Studio Series Devastation Optimus Prime. I mean, he's a piece of crap. I mean, but I get why they came out with him is because not a lot of people can afford to buy this guy. You know, you have to realize the whole goal for Hasbro is to make money. And they want to push their products, you know? But if you're a collector, you want this. But there are a lot of people out there that can't afford it, so they come out with this. And, you know, that's just the name of the game, folks. So when they come out with a thing like this, you know, they have people in mind that just can't afford, you know, the big ticket items. So they come out with things like this or things like this. Like I have the two missing Link Optimus Primes they came out with, or Convoy in Japan. But here is the budget version. That's the Legacy Optimus Prime. So, but you see, my one problem with Hasbro is the fact that here, like even now with Studio Series 86 Soundwave that came out, or it's supposed to come out next month, even though some guys got pre-orders in and they got theirs in hand already, is the fact that the quality control is awful. I have Netflix Soundwave up on my shelf, and his legs are turning yellow. The yellowing is real because of the cheap quality of the plastic costs. And then you got these massive holes and gaps. Like it took 3 upgrade kits to get this guy to look like the way he does. Brand new forearms, brand new gap fillers, you know, brand new trailer hitch on here, all that kind of stuff. Brand new smokestacks. I mean, everything, man. I mean, it took forever and took 3 upgrade kits to get him to look like this. The quality control is awful. Look at what was the name of? Oh, it was Transformers Robots in Disguise, the HasLab Optimus Prime that came out where the waist was breaking, that they had like a special upgrade kit that Hasbro had to provide because that particular figure was breaking, you know? So it's most of it's all quality control. They're going to have to stop doing Studio Series sooner or later because now Transformers fans are getting wise. And I'm seeing a lot more content creators talking about this. Like, you know, they know Transformers fans are going to go after this stuff. It's like people that smoke cigarettes. If you live in the criminal, radical, fascist, socialist, leftist, communist, Marxist, hashtag #MeToo, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, anti-white, anti-family, anti-Trump, anti-parent, anti-police, bedbug-infested crime-ridden regime of the COVID concentration camp, illegal immigration camp of New York City, where I used to live, you know, they know people are addicted to smoking. They know people want to smoke. So what do? They keep taxing the very thing that people like. It's like me drinking my sugar-free Red Bulls. If somebody sees that I like that out there in one of these stores, or one of these politicians say, oh, these guys like Red Bull? Well, let's tax them because we know they like it. So we can make more money off of them to pay for welfare for people that don't want to work and shit like that. You know, the whole point is that we're suckers to our own wants and needs when it comes to these things, unfortunately. So you look at Galvatron that came out. I have the second iteration of War for Cybertron, Galvatron. The first one was the purple one where the arms were incorrect. The second iteration is where they corrected the manufacturing. Then they came out with Legacy or whatever it was. And now they came out with Studio Series Galvatron, which is nothing but a repaint. Is it really that? Do you really have to be that particular to have it so exact, like it just jumped out of it? I mean, I get it that fans want as close to humanly possible what we see up on the screen, but you know, it's like Beast Wars. You're going to have all kinds of kibble and stuff like that, but they know we're suckers for it. So they come out with repaint and repaint and repaint and repaint. How many Bumblebees are out there now? You know what I mean? I got Studio Series Bumblebee up there, but I got Missing Link Bumblebee and I got Netflix Bumblebee. And then they just came out with another Bumblebee repaint, which is the Netflix repaint on a vintage card back in a blister. And I think they did that with Sea Spray and Brawn, I believe. But I got Brawn sitting up there with the cartoon accurate face. And they just keep reissuing and reissuing and reissuing and rehashing and all this stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous and absurd. And of course, you know, people will say, oh, look, it's Transformers. Here's my money. To quote Rich Evans from Red Letter Media. And they keep retooling and rehashing and reissuing. Here, like Scourge. They're coming out with another fucking Scourge. I just sold one of my sweeps, Studio 86 sweeps on eBay for like half of what I paid for it. But I have the first issue of Scourge. And now they're coming out with another one. And they're supposed to be reissuing Cyclonus. And now they just came out. How many reissues of the Seekers, Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp are they going to come out with? And now they got these little the new, they're calling them like masterpiece miniatures now. Like Thundercracker was the first one. I probably won't get it because I'm kind of content with the Seekers I got up there. I actually bought the Thundercracker and Skywarp 2-pack from Amazon, and Starscream I found out in the wild. Why am I going to go out of my way to go get another Seeker pack? Yeah, they look more cartoon accurate, sure, but already there's QC issues. I've been seeing content creators talking about the stabilizer wings on Thundercracker turning yellow already. Autistic Barbie, that is so stupid. I have autism and it is not right to make fun of those who are autistic. Yeah, and I agree. It's like me. I suffer with 9/11 post-traumatic stress disorder from the things that I saw at that site. You know, I don't talk about this subject too often, but I don't want to see a PTSD Optimus Prime. What are you going to do? Have him sit like this? PTSD Optimus Prime. He has a chair and put his hands over his head like that. Can you imagine? Think about it. You know, try to imagine veterans and police officers and 9/11 recovery workers and military personnel with an Optimus Prime that comes with a fucking chair and a blanket. Let me see. I'm going to take my Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. Try to imagine having a post-traumatic stress Optimus Prime sitting like this in a toy chair. PTSD Optimus Prime. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? I can say that because I was diagnosed with it, just like you were diagnosed with autism. You know, it's ridiculous and it's pathetic and it's stupid because I don't want to be reminded of issues that I have. What are you going to do? Are you going to have insomnia, Optimus Prime? You know what I mean? I suffer with insomnia as well. I've talked about it on the channel loosely here and there. You know, it's a result of a combination of things. It's the post-traumatic stress and it's the high blood sugar that I got. That keeps me up. With, what do they call that? Kicking leg syndrome or whatever the hell that is. You know, with the neuropathy I got on the bottom of my feet that I take all them supplements for to calm that shit down. But do I want insomnia Optimus Prime? He comes with a special water bed and big googly eyes with his eyes open like this, staring up at the ceiling. And it has like a special thing where you can have little sheep going around him in a halo or something. It's stupid, man. I don't want to be reminded of that kind of stuff. I get why they're doing it. I'm sympathetic to it. But, you know, I have to live with it. I don't want to be reminded of it every day. You know, I don't talk about 9/11 as much as I used to. Believe me, it was a bad habit of mine, and I got over that shit a long time ago because not only do I get tired of talking about it, but the people around me got tired of me talking about it and making it such a big deal. You know, I mean, listen, man, I did my part in it. The things I had to do are now done. It's over. I have to live my life currently the way it is. I can't, you know, I have to move past it. But unfortunately, you know, I still deal with a lot of that fallout. But I don't want to be fucking reminded of it every minute of every second. And, you know, go to the bathroom, I have to talk about it. Go to the supermarket, I have to talk about it. Then I have to come home, look at my collectibles or post-traumatic stress Optimus Prime. Insomnia Megatron. You know, fucking high glucose Starscream. You know what I mean? Do you want that? I don't. What are you gonna do? Have fucking Starscream hooked up to an IV, getting blood transfusions and shit, or have Starscream come with a fucking, what do you call them? To check blood sugar, a little blood sugar machine that check his energon levels. It's stupid. I don't agree with it. I think it's offensive. I think it's disgusting. People already deal with enough reality. I know I deal with enough reality as it is. Last year, I had way too much reality. Again, the death of my father, my buddy Wolf passing away, what my ex-girlfriend did, you know, to me, and money being stolen out of my bank account, the bullshit that I dealt with here on the property, stopping a fucking knife-wielding psychopath, and then them threatening me to fucking take my lease away because I obeyed the fucking law or operated within the laws that defend a person's life. And what did I get in return for that? Absolutely nothing. Except for fucking grief and misery. You're welcome, by the way. And I still don't know who left that case of beer up on my patio. You know, at least I got a thank you card from my neighbors. I don't want to be, you know, I'm reminded of my father's death every day. He's in here. And he's in here. Obviously, I have a photo of him up there. I have a little shrine dedicated to him. But I have to live my life, too. I can't sit here being depressed all day. He wouldn't want that, and neither would I. I don't think anybody would. I think it's highly offensive, in my opinion. You know, I use the word retard in a comedic sense, in a satire sense. You know? Like with myself, with post-traumatic stress, for example, I'll make fun of it all day, you know, doing this shit. Where's it coming? Is it coming? Is it going to get me? Is it going to get me? You know, acting like I have paranoid delusions and all that kind of shit. I can do that. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean, you know, Nirvana had a line in one of their songs, you know, just because they're not out there doesn't mean they're not going to get you or whatever the fuck. I forget what the name of the song is. But I find it highly offensive to be reminded of something. You know, you think blind people want to be reminded that they're fucking blind? You know, what are you going to give them? Vibration G.I. Joe? Just so they have something to touch? So that you can feel that it's there because I can't see where the fucking thing is? Bell ringer G.I. Joe. You know what I mean? I think it's offensive. I think it's gross to remind people of conditions that they have. You know, and some people, I mean, I openly make fun of myself. I talk about myself. It is what it is. You know, but some people are very private in their lives. They don't want to fucking, you know, have their personal issues be out there for the public to see. I mean, as a content creator, to relate to my audience, that's why I talk about some of the things I talk about, to be relatable. I'm just like the rest of you. People like PewDiePie and fucking Mr. Beast and all these other nitwits that are out there, they're not relatable, man. You know, you can't, they don't get down to the fucking level of what we are. You know what I mean? You can't identify with them. It's just nothing but a big fucking scam to make money off of people. At least with my stuff, you know what you get. You know what I mean? And it's not just the baseball cards, but I say with myself. You know, you what you see is what you get. You know, I'm just like the rest of you. You know, I don't have a shiny coat of paint. I have a lot of dings on my paint, a lot of scratches, a lot of dings, a lot of dents. You know what I mean? I would call myself a dent. It is what it is. I am a dent. You know, if you can't say that you're a dent, then you're a fucking idiot. We all got our flaws, man. It's what you do with them flaws is what makes you what you are. Know what I mean? You can have a crippled person be a fucking scientific genius, just like, you know, what's his face that died recently? I was diagnosed with autism back when I was 5. Yeah, you probably have gifts that I don't. You're probably good at things that I'm not. You know what I mean? Everybody has that thing. Everybody has that special ooze. You know, I know people want to do things and accomplish things and want goals and want this and want that. I never thought I'd be selling baseball cards. I just happen to be good at it. And plus, I like being in my own environment. There's no stress. I do what I want. I come and go as I please. I don't answer to anybody. I'm not beholden to anybody. There's no boss. There's no overlord except for my Lord and God and Savior, you know, and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, I worked in a workplace, you know, since I'm a young guy. My first job was at Party City on the books. And my dad pushed me to get into construction, and I did all that stuff. And it just wasn't meant to be. It was the path that was laid out in front of me. And now here I am selling sports cards out of my home. Because I can't tolerate the stress. I can't tolerate people's bullshit. Doesn't mean like I'm one of them guys that flips his lid. That's not me. I'm very grounded with a lot of stuff. You know, I these days as I've gotten older, you know, if I was a younger guy, it'd be different. But I'm almost 50 years old now. It's been time to calm down for a long time. So I'm quite content with looking at the birds and the trees and the deer outside and having my own little world that I created behind me over here. You know, I got my music. Everything I need is right here at home. The outside world is alien to me because the outside world and the way I was raised and with my logic, them people out there are fucking spooky. I rather my little world. I rather be in control of my own little world. I don't have to be pushed, shoved, threatened. I don't have to deal with violent people, attitudes, narcissism. You know, he said that, she said that, you said, or hearsay, basically. He said that, she said that, I said that, and I'm like, you know what I mean? I'd rather be a dent. I don't want to be shiny. I don't even want to be number one. I want to be like number 4. I like being in number 4 in the pecking order. When you're number 1, you got too many spotlights on you. You know what I mean? Shazam, aka Captain Marvel, Billy Batson is my favorite DC comic character because he is a good example of why my own characters got stolen by my crooked publisher. I used to be a comic book writer. I actually like the Shazam movies, to be honest with you. The first one was pretty cool, how he's kind of like learning his powers and all that kind of stuff, trying to fly in the air, and he crashes crashes to the ground and all that kind of stuff. That it was a little stain on the DC universe. It wasn't quite perfect, but see, that's the direction that DC should go in, like they did with the Joker. The second Joker movie I didn't like. I hated it. I actually hated it quite a bit. The first Joker movie was good. Shazam was good. I wish they would go in that direction. Like the Dark Knight was fucking amazing. But you know, like I said, I'm a dent. I like being a dent. I don't want to be number 1. I don't want to be shiny or sparkly or anything like that. I'd rather have a couple scratches in my paint. You know what I mean? Everybody here is most people here on YouTube are like, oh, that, look at me, bullshit. Come on, man, give me a break. Come on, man. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Remember that stuff? Yeah, we're the racists. Oh, don't even get me started with that shit. But what time is it here? It's 11 o'clock. I guess I can keep going. I got plenty of water and Red Bulls if I need it. But again, thank you everybody for joining into this live stream, man. That first 20 minutes right out of the gate was rough, man. I probably talked about a dozen different subjects, but I appreciate that. And that's what this channel is about, man. You know. Again, if you're new to the live stream, you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash that like button. That thumbs up button really helps. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my eBay store, Shameless eBeg. You're supporting a small business like mine. I got a couple orders right there. I got to finish processing. I'll get them out tomorrow. And thank you, everybody that has done so. Man, my customers are ravenous. And usually my customers will either buy cards really early in the morning. I find it strange. I do have to point this out, though. I know a lot of sports card talking heads and gatekeepers. Oh, the prices are dropping. The prices are dropping. Maybe you're doing something wrong. That's why your prices are dropping. Not mine. I'm doing quite well. I work with my customers. I try to make my cards as cheap as I can based on what I see. I offer discounts. Like today, as a matter of fact, I had a a customer that messaged me for a recent order I just sent out 2 weeks ago, and the post office scanned it as being delivered, and I saw that on my end. But the customer, when I went through their feedbacks, I didn't see any indication of any foul play, or that they were trying to pull some bullshit. And I said, give it a couple days, check out my YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. There's always some fuckery going on with the post office, always, always, always. And I guarantee that they scanned it ahead of time, which means you'll probably get it in the next day or two. And sure enough, he messaged me today saying the card showed up. You were right. Thank you for that. At least there are honest collectors out there, which I appreciate. And I'm thankful that I got some really, really good people. I haven't had any fuckery go on, except at the end of 2025, where I had 3 people claiming the same thing. Their cards never showed up, and all 3 cases were thrown out by eBay because, well, the cards were delivered, and they kept pushing, and they're like, no, it shows it was delivered. So they were trying to get free cards. The old oh, my card didn't show up scam. One of many scams that happen on eBay. But Shazam has been around since 1939, the 40s and the 50s. DC stole him from his original creators, publishers, because DC thought... Well, actually, there's a lot of transference. There are a couple of videos out there, if you search on YouTube, that they show the similarities between certain characters between the DC and Marvel universe. As a matter of fact, right off the top of my head, I'm trying to think right now, as a matter of fact, because I'm not much of a comic book guy anymore. I mean, obviously, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, all them. Like, here, Captain Marvel versus Superman. You look at the two of them together, well, what do you think? You know what I mean? But you see a lot of that kind of stuff between the two universes, so to speak, that there are a lot of similarities between one character and another. Well, you had classic comic book artists like Jack Kirby, who always bounced between DC and Marvel anyways, and a lot of his shit got stolen. I saw a video about this recently with Jack Kirby. A lot of his art basically was stolen because they wanted to redraw him or something like that, and Jack said, fuck you, I'm going to DC. And then Marvel would essentially just basically copy and paste his stuff. So, and Marvel Comics stole the Captain Marvel name. See, there you go. An example of it. Folks, I got to use the restroom. I've been taking down water and Red Bulls right here. Talk amongst yourselves. I shall return. I wish I could play background music for all you fine folks. The last time I had background music in a live stream, it got copyright claimed. There wasn't a copyright strike. I just don't want other content creators monetizing my shit. So I'll be right back, folks. Forgive the quiet in the background. I will return. Little hand sanitizer here and there never hurts. What do I put my reading glasses? I do this all the time. Oh, they're sitting right there. Never mind. I'm a doofus. I could tell the dihydroberberine is working because I don't feel that burning, stinging feeling in my feet anymore. So Shazam and Superman are almost similar to one another. Shazam is a human boy. Superman is a Kryptonian. So that being said, Shazam is almost a ripoff of Superman. Yeah, that's a good assessment of it. Yeah, superpowered being, unlimited power, all that sort of stuff. There's so much transference between the two universes that it's actually kind of sad, to be honest with you. But that's why I have to comment about this. That's why originality has been flushed down the toilet these days, because the human imagination can't conjure up anything on its own anymore. That's why you see all this slop. I have to say, oh, my buddy's back messaging me here on WhatsApp again. Superman is. I'm not even going to repeat that. But anyway, what was I going to say? So that's why you see a lot of this slop, like this new fucking Star Trek stuff. It's so offensive in every way that I don't give a shit. I'll tell you the truth. At the core, I don't care who's gay, who's black, who's fat, who's trans, who's white, who has septum rings, all that goofy shit. Just tell a good story. Tell a good story. That's what was great about Star Trek, the original series, which was actually sci-fi horror. It was fantastic. You had the original Prime Universe movies, which were fantastic. But then J.J. Abrams came in with his Crypt Keeper hands and fucked everything up. Discovery, don't even get me started with Discovery. Strange New Worlds for me has been, it's been hit and miss with certain stuff. It plays games with my mind because it's supposed to be roughly based off of the original series off of TOS. So it kind of plays a game with your mind. But I won't watch Starfleet Academy. They've completely taken a canon and threw it out the fucking window for equality. Not for nothing. You know why people are pissed off at the new Star Trek? I'll tell you right now. Because when you get into fucking Starfleet, it's military. It's a literal military fucking organization, the Federation, okay? That's why they have phasers and torpedoes, okay? Phasers and fucking torpedoes. Jesus, man, it's a military organization. That's why they have people called captain, lieutenant, commander. It's a fucking military, a story about the military. But then again, it's supposed to be about space exploration and science and discovery. Yeah, you run into different cultures and all that kind of stuff. It's not goofy like ours is, you know what I mean? But, you have to draw a line in the sand. And they've taken that canon and washed it over with our politics, our real world politics, for acceptance. You can't have fat police officers. There are fat police officers, but they're not going to be able to chase after criminals. Their fat asses will fall on their face. Not to knock female firefighters, but watch them, see if they can hold the business end of a water hose, putting out a fire, or trying to carry down a man from a burning building on a fucking ladder. You know what I mean? You got to be real. It gets to a point where you have to start being realistic, man. I'm sure people, if you give them a shot, if they can do it, fine. I got no problem with female race car drivers. I got no problem with fucking female astronauts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, some of the barriers have been broken, but give me a break with certain other stuff. When it comes to Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, when I see an overweight Jem'Hadar in canon, okay, Jem'Hadar, there are no females. And this woman that portrays this Jem'Hadar is severely overweight. All right, and just like that other white woman that was there in Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. It's a fucking military. The Federation is a military organization, whether you like it or not. You can't have when have you ever seen like crippled people? There was, I think, Deep Space Nine. There was like one episode where there was a woman that had like a fucking wheelchair and had like a special apparatus, but that's only because her planet was like had 10 times the gravitational pull. Oh, actually, no, that's wrong. That's a lie. Had like 10 times less the gravitational pull of Earth or anything like that, or the gravity on Deep Space Nine. So when she came into our gravity, she needed a special fucking wheelchair because otherwise she'd float up in the air and fly all over the place. You know what I mean? Because that's how her planet was. That's the only reason why she had a wheelchair. Somebody pointed this out. You know, like William Shatner in Star Trek II, the Wrath of Khan, with the reading glasses, like I got on here. It was more like a gift than anything else. And William Shatner, as Admiral Kirk said, I'm allergic to Retinox 5. So he probably had poor eyesight by admission in that movie. But Bones, I think, as more like a gag gift, gave him these 200-year-old fucking eyeglasses, and Kirk puts them on, and he's like, ah, shit. You know what I mean? Because, you know, especially with Geordie LaForge, they got fucking devices that can help people see. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous and stupid. It really is. You know, I get the idea, and I'm saying this again as somebody with post-traumatic stress. I don't want PTSD Optimus Prime. I really don't. You're going to have Optimus Prime have, you know, a fucking bottle of medication in one hand and his hand covering the other hand like this, with a therapist bot in front of him. I mean, give me a break. You have to draw a line somewhere. Reality gets too real sometimes, and people go to these franchises for escapism. And these idiots don't get it. When I look at all my Star Trek stuff up there, up until, you know, JJ Trek came out, it was all about exploration and experimentation and all that kind of stuff. But now everything's about inclusion. If you're not good enough, see, the ones who are screaming diversity, equity, inclusion, it's not handicapped people, it's not blind people, it's not crippled people. You know who it is? Fucking worthless, skillless, uneducated, jealous, fucking narcissistic people that don't want to put the fucking elbow grease into the machine to accomplish their goals. Everything is everybody else's fault. You know what I mean? It's like ridiculous. I could be a fucking feckless alcoholic like some of the people that live around here. Like today, if you watch one of my YouTube shorts where I'm literally substituting beer for fucking ginger ale. Because if I don't feel like drinking, I get a knock on my fucking wall on the side of my apartment. Or one of the have-nots is sniffing out beer because they spent all their fucking money, whatever pocket change they had left, on drinking beer all day, all night, or smoking marijuana or whatever it is. And if I don't want to get drunk, just to save face, just to create the illusion like everything is fine and dandy, I got to put ginger ale into one of them screw top bottles of beer to make it look like I'm drinking beer, just to make this person happy. And hopefully they're so fucking drunk they go away. You know what I mean? I have a certain way of handling people and a certain way of doing things. That's my way of kind of shooing them away without having to be rude, loud, or argumentative or combative with them. While I'm there tanking down fucking ginger ale inside one of them screw bottles, they get the real thing, but they're so fucked up already. After they have one or two, they go home. I go back to my nice, quiet refuge right here in back of me. All is well for the rest of the night. I drink when I want to drink. You know, and I hate to do that kind of stuff, but anyway. Shazam does not have ice breath and heat vision and x-ray vision like Superman does. Well, Shazam is more magic based. And I think Superman, as far as canon is concerned, would have problems with Shazam as a result of his magic. The only thing that would stop Superman from beating Shazam would be the fact that he would have to say the word Shazam. You know, if I get my canon correct. But Superman has issues with characters that deal with magic. So, oh, jeez. What time is it here? 11:15. Man, I've been going, and gone, boy. And thank you guys again for another awesome live stream. Yeah, I'm trying to save my live streams for the nighttime because during the day, you know, I can clearly see like my audience is mostly working in the day, or they're busy during the day, or whatever it is they're doing during the day. And, you know, I'm doing my stuff here at home with the eBay stuff, and most of my audience tends to settle in around this time. So much appreciated. And that's probably the course I'm going to go down, is save my live streams for the nighttime and all that kind of stuff. Unless I do like I haven't bought baseball cards or wax since Flagship of last year. But now Topps 2026 is out. I really don't like the way the cards look. Apparently, there's shrinkflation. You know who talked about this was Western New York Cards on Twitter. I think it was on Twitter or X, whatever they call it. That he actually broke down pack odds that now boxes where you used to get two relic pulls. Relics basically are pieces of uniform or baseball bat. Say like with these two right here that are on my desk, they have two pieces of New York Yankees uniforms built into the cards. So instead of getting two, now you're only getting one. Instead of getting like 12 cards per pack, you're getting like 10 cards per pack. Certain boxes, instead of getting like 12 packs, you're getting like 10 packs, but you're still paying the same price, which is fucking stupid. That's why I don't want to buy baseball cards anymore. I hate to say it, my days of buying baseball cards may be done unless I go back and I do like what my buddy's sending me, that box of Fleer, which I appreciate, by the way, and the two upper deck boxes that I bought, because it's just too expensive to buy this shit anymore. With shrinkflation being what it is, I saw a video about this recently where they were somebody compared fucking crackers, the size of a cracker like 5 years ago or whatever it is, and then you look at the modern cracker today, you can actually see the cracker smaller. Coffee cans, somebody actually posted photos of two Folgers coffee cans, and one is just barely smaller than the other. Shrinkflation. You're getting more for less these days. That's why I don't want to buy any more baseball cards. If I do, it'll be singles at this point. Now I've really, now that I've listed a whole bunch of stuff over at my eBay store, I've really fine-tuned my collection. What I will get graded, my father's baseball cards are a priority. Those are going to be the first ones I submit. If SGC, if PSA, obviously they have their Crypt Keeper greedy hands involved with SGC and Beckett these days, but I think my dad's vintage, I'm going to send off to SGC. And I might, for the first time, submit the PSA, but now they're raising their fucking prices too, which is absurd and ridiculous. It's not like they get enough. Not saying you should be chasing tens, but a lot of people are getting fucked with their grades from PSA. They're too strict. They're way too strict. I get the whole goal is to have the most perfect baseball cards you can get. I know for a fact the Ken Griffey Jr. PSA 10 that I got, that thing would be a PSA 9 now. But Shazam will always be Captain Marvel to me, and Shazam is supposed to be the name of the wizard, not the Billy Batson character. But again, I'll be honest, like I haven't followed comic book lore since the death of Superman. I know they just came out with like an anniversary edition of the death of Superman, with like a big tombstone and all this stuff. I used to have a whole collection of Superman comics, but over the years, I've lost touch with comic books. I just gave it up. A lot of those comic books either I sold or got tossed, or who knows what happened with them. But yeah, I was a collector around the death of Superman, around that era, and all that kind of stuff. But that's when Image Comics came out. Excuse me. Well, pardon me. Image Comics came out. Valiant Comics came out. That's when all the independent comic creators came out. When Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee and all those guys started their own companies, what have you. You had Bloodshot, Solar, Man of the Atom, Exo Man of War, and then you had Spawn, The Max, guys like that. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking nonstop for almost 2 hours, and I'm starting to wear down here a little bit. I'm going to probably call it a night. DC needs to make more Shazam movies and continue calling Shazam Captain Marvel in the movies and not use Captain Marvel as a movie title. While, Brie Larson apparently is Captain Marvel, which I find to be fucking insulting because she's one of these, white bourgeois leftist asshole feminists that's condescending, not realizing that when she looks in the mirror, she's a white woman and she shames white people. Maybe it's because the fucking story sucks. And I agree that the character name was fucking stolen by Marvel. I am 100% in agreement. So anyway, folks, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm dead tired. I'm talking nonstop for almost 2 hours now. Thank you again, everybody. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button. Check out my eBay store. The link is in the description box of every video and short that I do here on YouTube. God bless you all. You are all amazing. This was a great conversation, great live stream. I had a good time doing it. But I'm a little worn out, folks. I think it's time for the old man to take a nap or go to sleep. Yeah, I'm tired, folks. Today was a long day, and I got some stuff I got to take care of tomorrow. So thank you, everybody. Have yourself a great night. I really appreciate it, like always. And until the next live stream, I'll see you all very soon.